Wait! Before you spend that dime, look at the date. Is it 1995? Now look beside the date. Do you see that tiny D? If you do, don't put it back in your pocket yet. Take that dime out, put it right in front of you. Because today, we're going to look at this little 10-cent coin in a completely different way. And I'm not going to tell you that every 1995 D dime is worth a fortune. That's not true. Most are ordinary, but that's exactly what makes this hunt exciting. Because when you're searching through American coins, you're not looking for every coin to be valuable. You're looking for the one coin that is different. The one coin with something unusual. The one coin that makes you stop and say, hold on, why does mine look like this? So if you've got a 1995 D Roosevelt Dime nearby, keep it in your hand. Don't spend it, don't clean it, and don't throw it into the coin jar yet. We're going to inspect it together. First, the date. Look at the front of the dime. Find the numbers. 1995. Pretty simple, right? Now look next to the date. That tiny D is important. It tells us where the coin was made, but don't make the mistake of thinking the D automatically makes the coin rare. It doesn't. The D is simply our starting point. Now we're going to look beyond the date. Because sometimes the most interesting thing about a coin isn't the year. It's what happened to that particular coin when it was made, and what happened to it afterward. So take a close look at Roosevelt. Look at his face. Look at the cheek. Look around the eye. Look at the hair. Look at the lettering. Now ask yourself, does anything look unusual? Don't try to find something just because you want the coin to be valuable. That's not how we do this. We're looking for something genuinely different, something you can actually see, something you can compare, something you can investigate. Now turn the dime over. This is where I want you to slow down. Look at the torch. You see those horizontal bands? Don't just glance at them. Move the coin underneath a light. Tilt it. Turn it. Move it slowly. Watch the light travel across the surface. Now ask yourself, are those bands weak? Are they blurry? Or are they unusually sharp? Because this little part of the design can become very interesting when you're dealing with an exceptionally well-struck Roosevelt dime. And that's where collectors start paying attention to something called full bands. Maybe you've heard that phrase before. Maybe you haven't. But don't worry about the terminology yet. Just look at the coin. Look at the torch. Look at those bands. Now compare them with another Roosevelt dime if you have one. Put them side by side. Look at the difference. One may look soft. Another may look sharper. And sometimes, a really strong strike can make a coin much more interesting to collectors. Now let's talk about something that can completely change how a collector looks at your dime. Conviction. Take your coin back to the front. Look at Roosevelt's cheek. Do you see little scratches? Tiny marks? Dents? Contact marks? Where? Now look at the open areas around his portrait. Are they clean or are they covered with little hit? Think about what this coin has probably been through. It could have been inside a cash register. It could have been dropped on a sidewalk. It could have been sitting in someone's pocket next to keys. It could have been mixed with thousands of other coins. Every time another coin hits it, another little mark can appear. That's why finding a modern coin in exceptional condition can be surprisingly interesting. The coin may be from 1995, but what matters is how well that particular piece survived. Now here is something important. Don't fall for the headline. You might see someone online say 1995 D dime worth thousands, and suddenly everybody starts checking their change. But stop for a second. That headline doesn't tell you which coin they're talking about. Is it circulated? Is it uncirculated? Is it graded? Does it have full bands? Does it have a genuine mint error? Is it a recognized variety? Those details matter. A normal circulated 1995 D dime isn't suddenly worth thousands just because somebody put a huge number in a video title. So we're going to do this the right way. We're going to inspect the coin first. Value comes last. Identification comes first. Now, turn the coin sideways. Let's check the edge. Look carefully. A normal Roosevelt dime has a reeded edge. Run your eyes around it. Does anything look strange? Does the edge appear damaged? Is there an unusual smooth section? Does one part look completely different? If something looks unusual, don't immediately call it an error. This is extremely important. A coin can be damaged after it leaves the mint. Someone can bend it, hit it, scratch it, file it, grind it, or expose it to chemicals. All of those things can make a normal coin look strange. So we're trying to figure out, was this created at the mint or did it happen later? That's the real question. Now let's talk about weight. If you have a precise digital scale, use it. Put the dime on the scale. Watch the number. A normal Roosevelt dime should be around its standard weight. If yours is dramatically different, that's a reason to investigate. But again, different doesn't automatically mean valuable. Maybe there's dirt. Maybe the scale is inaccurate. Maybe the coin has damage. Maybe something else is happening. The weight is a clue. It's not the final answer. That's how experienced coin hunters think. They collect clues. They don't jump straight to conclusions. Now imagine this. You're looking through an old pile of change. You see a dime. You don't think much about it. You pick it up. You see 1995. You turn it slightly. D. You almost put it back. But then you remember, wait, I should check this. You flip it over. You look at the torch and something catches your eye. The bands look incredibly sharp. You pick up another dime. You compare them. And now you're thinking, could this actually be something? That's the moment coin collecting gets exciting. Not because you know you've found a fortune, but because you don't know. You're curious, and curiosity makes you look closer. Now let's talk about full bands. This is one of the most interesting things to examine on a Roosevelt dime that appears to be in exceptional condition. The torch has horizontal bands. Collectors look at how clearly those bands are separated. If the details are extremely sharp, the coin may qualify for a full bands designation. But don't simply look at a photo online and decide yours is full bands. Professional grading has specific standards. Your coin may look fantastic to you, but tiny imperfections can matter. That's why you compare, you learn, you study, and if the coin appears exceptional, you consider professional grading. Now here's a mistake I don't want you to make. Don't clean the coin. I am serious. If you think your 1995 D dime might be special, leave it alone. Don't polish it. Don't rub it with a cloth. Don't use vinegar. Don't use chemicals. Don't try to make it shiny. Don't scrape anything off, because the original surface is part of the coin. And once you've damaged it, you can't simply put that surface back. So if your coin looks interesting, protect it first. Investigate second. Now let's look for another possibility. Mint errors. This is where things can get really exciting. Imagine the coin being struck and something goes wrong. Maybe the coin isn't centered correctly. Maybe the planchet has a problem. Maybe something gets between the die and the coin. Maybe the coin is struck in an unusual way. The result can be a genuine mint error. And that's completely different from damage. So let's see what you can look for. Off-center strike. Look at your dime. Is Roosevelt's portrait centered? Is the reverse centered? Does the design appear shifted toward one side? If the design is dramatically off-center, that's something worth investigating. But a tiny difference in alignment isn't necessarily a valuable error. We're looking for something clearly unusual, something that looks like it happened during production. Now look at the rim. Is the rim normal? Does it look even? Or does one area look dramatically wider? Maybe the coin has a strange raised section. Maybe the design is pushed toward the edge. Maybe part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't positioned correctly. These are the kinds of things that can make an error coin fascinating. But again, don't guess. Document it, photograph it, compare it, get it authenticated if necessary. Now let's talk about struck-through errors. Imagine something gets between the die and the coin during striking. The result can leave an unusual feature on the surface. Maybe part of the design looks weak. Maybe there's a strange impression. Maybe an area appears distorted. Now here's where you need to be careful. A scratch isn't a struck-through error. A gouge isn't automatically a struck-through error. A damaged coin can look dramatic, so the question is, does the feature make sense as something that could have happened during striking? That's what specialists investigate. Now imagine you find a 1995 D dime with something truly unusual. You take a picture, you take another. You compare it with a normal dime, and you realize the feature is not on the other coin. You look at the edge, you check the weight, you inspect the entire surface. Now you're starting to build a case. That's much better than simply saying, I found a rare coin. You haven't proven that yet. You've found something worth investigating, and that's how you should approach it. Now let's talk about color. Maybe your dime looks strange. Maybe it has an unusual golden color. Maybe it looks darker than another dime. Maybe one side looks different from the other. Don't immediately assume it's a rare error. Coins can change appearance because of their environment. Chemicals, heat, moisture, cleaning, storage, all of these can affect the surface. So color alone isn't enough. Look at the edge. Look at the weight. Look at both sides. Look at the surface. Ask yourself, does everything make sense together? That's how you avoid mistakes. Now here's another situation. Maybe your 1995 D dime looks almost perfect. You hold it under a light. You can't find scratches. The details are sharp. The fields look clean. The torch bands look unusually strong. Now you've got a reason to pay attention, because a high-grade coin can be much more interesting than a heavily circulated example, and that's one of the biggest lessons in modern coin collecting. Mintage doesn't tell the entire story. A coin can have a huge production number, but only a small number may survive in truly exceptional condition. Millions of coins get worn, millions get scratched, millions get damaged, so condition rarity is real. Now imagine two 1995 D dimes. Same year, same mint mark, same design. One has been circulating for years. The other looks almost untouched. You put them next to each other. Suddenly you can see why collectors look at condition so carefully. The difference is obvious. One is an everyday coin. The other may be a candidate for serious examination. That's why you shouldn't judge a coin only by its date. Now let's talk about grading. You may see something like MS65, MS66, MS67, MS68. Those numbers describe condition. The higher you go, the harder it becomes to find coins that meet the requirements. And here's the crazy part. At the lower grades, tiny marks may not matter much. At the highest grades, one tiny mark can make a major difference. That's why an extremely high-grade modern coin can become surprisingly valuable. You're not paying for the metal, you're paying for rarity, condition, demand, and the specific characteristics of that coin. Now let's say your coin looks incredible. Should you get it graded? Maybe, but don't automatically spend money grading every coin you find. Look at the potential first. If it's heavily circulated, probably not. If it's an ordinary-looking dime, probably not. But if it's exceptionally preserved or has a suspected mint error or appears to have strong full bands, then professional evaluation could make more sense. The goal is to make decisions based on evidence. Now let's talk about something else, the mint mark. That tiny D people sometimes ignore it. But when you're identifying a coin, every little detail matters. Look at the shape, look at the position, look at the surrounding area. Does it look normal? Does it look unusually thick? Does it appear doubled? If you're seeing something strange, magnify it. Take a picture. Compare it with a normal example. Don't use your imagination. Use your eyes. Now imagine you discover a possible mint mark variety. This is where the hunt gets even more interesting. You may have a normal-looking coin, except for one tiny feature. That feature may be connected to how That feature may be connected to how the die was prepared. And if it's a recognized variety, collectors may specifically search for it. That's why tiny details can matter. But again, don't assume every unusual mark is a variety. You need to identify the feature. Now let's talk about the reverse again. Look at the torch. Look at the bands. Look at the lettering. Look around the rim. Look at the overall strike. Now tilt the coin. See how the light moves. A strong strike can make the details look crisp. A weak strike can make certain details appear soft. And that difference is important when you're looking for a high-grade example. Now here is a fun challenge. Take your 1995 D dime and find another Roosevelt dime from a different year. Put them side by side. Look at the torch. Look at the bands. Look at Roosevelt's face. Look at the rims. Look at the lettering. Now compare the surfaces. Which one looks sharper? Which one has fewer marks? Which one has stronger details? You just did something collectors do all the time. You compared. And the more coins you compare, the better your eyes become. Now let's talk about eye appeal. Sometimes two coins can have similar grades, but one simply looks better. Maybe the surfaces are cleaner. Maybe the strike is stronger. Maybe the overall appearance is more attractive. Collectors notice that. That's why you shouldn't look at a coin only as a number. Look at the whole coin. How does it present? Does it look original? Does it look clean? Does it look natural? Does it have strong detail? Does anything immediately catch your eye? Now imagine someone offers you a 1995 D dime and says, "This is worth $1,000. What do you ask? Don't ask. Can I have it? Ask why. Why is it worth that much? Is it graded? What grade? Is there an error? What error? Is it a recognized variety? What makes it different? Can you compare it with a certified example? That's how you protect yourself from exaggerated claims. Now let's talk about the opposite situation. Someone tells you, it's only a dime, it's worthless. Don't automatically believe that either. Look at it first. Maybe it's ordinary. Fine. But maybe it has something unusual. You won't know until you check. That's the entire reason we're doing this. Now, let's imagine you're sorting through an old collection. There's a pile of pennies, a pile of nickels, a pile of quarters, and a small pile of dimes. You pick one up. 1995D. You almost ignore it. Then you remember the torch. You flip it over. You inspect the bands. You look at the surface. You check the edge. You think, wait, that moment is why people love coin hunting. Because you never know which coin is going to catch your attention. Now let's talk about storage. If your coin looks promising, put it somewhere safe. Don't leave it loose on a table. Don't throw it into a jar with hundreds of other coins. Don't keep it next to keys. Don't touch the surfaces unnecessarily. Hold it by the edges. Use a proper holder. Keep it dry. Keep it protected, especially if the coin is in excellent condition. Now let's imagine you found a possible error. Take photographs. Front, back, edge, close-up, weight. And if you have a scale, photograph the coin on the scale too. Good documentation helps. If you later send it to a professional, you'll have a record of what you originally found. Now here is one of the most important things I want you to remember. A valuable coin doesn't have to look valuable. That's the whole point. A dime still looks like a dime. It's small. It's ordinary looking. It may have been sitting in someone's pocket, but its value, if any, comes from the specific characteristics of that particular piece. That's why you look closer. Now let's return to our 1995D. Ask yourself 5 questions. Number 1, is the date definitely 1995? Number 2, is the mint mark definitely D? Number 3, is the coin in unusually good condition? Number 4, are the torch bands exceptionally sharp? Number 5, is there a genuine-looking mint error or variety? If the answer to all 5 is simply no, you probably have a normal dime, and that's okay. But if one of those answers is yes, you have a reason to investigate. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake beginners make. They see a strange line and immediately think, error. They see a shiny surface, rare. They see an old date, valuable. Slow down. Coin collecting rewards patience. Look, compare, measure, research, authenticate. That's the process. Now imagine your 1995D has a strong, full bands appearance. You compare it with normal examples. The bands look dramatically sharper. The coin has minimal marks. The surfaces look original. Now you're not just looking at an old dime. You're looking at a potentially scarce combination of strike and condition. That's when a serious collector might become interested. Now imagine instead that your dime has a giant scratch across Roosevelt's face. That may look dramatic, but dramatic doesn't equal valuable. If the scratch happened after the coin left the mint, it's damage. That's why understanding the difference between damage and errors is so important. Now imagine the edge is bent. Again, interesting? Maybe. Valuable mint error? Not necessarily. If somebody bent the coin later, that's damage. But if the coin was struck in an unusual way at the mint, that's a different story. So always ask, what caused it? That's the question. Now let's talk about authentication. If your coin appears to have a major error, don't rely on a random social media comment. Don't rely on someone saying, bro, that's definitely worth $10,000. Get professional advice, because authentication can tell you whether the coin is genuine, whether the feature is actually an error, and whether the coin qualifies for a particular variety or designation. That can make a huge difference. Now, let's imagine you've spent 20 minutes checking your dime. Maybe you found nothing. That's still useful, because now you know how to check the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Coin collecting is a skill. Your eyes improve with practice. The more normal coins you see, the easier it becomes to recognize something abnormal. Now take another look at that torch. This time, look at it without trying to find money. Just study it. Look at the design. Look at the strike. Look at the lines. Look at the details. That's what serious collectors do. They don't just see a coin, they read the coin. And that's why the 1995D Roosevelt Dime is such a fun coin to hunt. It's not because every example is rare. It's because the ordinary examples give you the perfect opportunity to learn what an exceptional example looks like. You're comparing, you're training your eye, you are searching for differences, and sometimes you find something. Now here's your final challenge. If you have a 1995D dime right now, put it under a bright light, look at the front, look at the date, look at the D, look at Roosevelt, turn it over, look at the torch, look at the bands, look at the lettering, look at the rim, turn it sideways, look at the edge, check the weight if you can, then compare it with another dime, and don't rush, take your time. Because the most important thing you're looking for isn't a price. You're looking for a difference. Maybe your coin is ordinary. Maybe it's worth face value. That's completely fine. But maybe the strike is unusually sharp. Maybe the condition is exceptional. Maybe the torch has remarkable definition. Maybe there's a genuine mint error. Maybe there's a recognized variety. And maybe you've been carrying that coin around without realizing that it deserved a closer look. So the next time someone hands you change, don't automatically throw it into your pocket. Look, because American coins are full of tiny details. Some are obvious, some are almost invisible, and some can only be discovered when somebody takes the time to stop, turn the coin over, and actually look. So if you have a 1995 D Roosevelt dime, don't spend it just yet. Check the date, check the D, check Roosevelt, check the torch, check those bands, check the edge, check the condition. And if something makes you say, wait, that doesn't look normal, stop right there. Put the coin somewhere safe. Don't clean it. Don't damage it. Don't spend it. Take a closer look, because maybe you've found nothing. Or maybe you've just found the reason that tiny 10-cent coin deserves a second look. And that's the fun of the hunt. You never know what's hiding in plain sight. So check your change. Check your old coin jars. Check those forgotten collections. And most importantly, check the dime before you spend it.